Good morning. It is Saturday. It is May 17th. It's craziness. Craziness in the head. Isn't that what I always say? Yeah. Anyway, no, it's just crazy how fast time goes. That's all. So, this is Lou. I was going to say I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but there is one thing I have on my mind, and that was to get into the Millennium. I'm kind of curious about it too. I mean, I've got this fictional stuff going on in my head about what the millennium's going to be like because I have a feeling because of that book. That book I started reading, you guys, I guess I should pick it back up and read some more. I just don't know how well I'll follow it. But for some reason, I must have the lessons from that book in my head, so I must have read it. In other words, there's this wonderful little wonderful little story that maybe tells about what it will be like, but then I think it might just be theory. It might just be fantasizing, or it might be real. And then I was thinking yesterday, wow, because I have it in my head, certain things, but maybe they're not true. And what I'm talking about is the fact that when we die and we go back to that God who gave us life, I know we're going to have our memories of before. Okay? So, this life and the pre-existence. But when we go into the millennium, I've had it in my head that we are going to remember those other two lives while we're living that one. But maybe I'm wrong about that one particular thing. But see, we're not there to be tested. The millennium, we are here now on earth to be tested. So when we leave here, we're going back to that God who gave us life if we die. In other words, if Jesus comes again and we're still living, then we are not going to go back to that God who gave us life. However, we kind of are, because if you're worthy, you're going to be lifted up. You're going to be lifted up, and this world is going to do a bunch of changing. And I was just thinking in my head, everybody has different, that's not what I'm trying to say, different interpretations, and then maybe there's things that are left out, and so yes, Jesus is coming in the clouds with concourses of, and I read the other day it said his saints. Okay, I had said his angels, but same thing, kind of, sort of. I'm not really sure on that either, because maybe an angel has already been to earth and then has gone back and has now got the job of angel. Or maybe he was an angel or she was an angel before they were born. I don't know. I don't know how that works. My nose wants to run, and I know the sniffing is, I don't like it either. I don't like that snorting sound that I do. I'm so sorry. It'd be nice to be able to pull that out and still have the words. I get around so much. I was going to say, there was something in my head just now, but then I think I've lost it. But it is true, too. Practice, practice, practice. So I'll have to do that. I was talking about my voice, how my voice has changed, like just now. my voice has changed over the years, and it used to be so beautiful. When I sing, sometimes it still is, but I always take the chance on my voice cracking or yodeling or something. It's not consistent. And I never did learn, how give me an E, give me an A, give me a whatever's, there's only a few notes. But no, I don't know that I mean, that might be something I could do, learn that. Because I always did. I did want to write songs. Now, what I was talking about was the words. But you got to have the right melody to go with it too, don't you? So I really admire that trait. It's not a trait. What would you call it? That talent. I admire that, especially because it's something I would like to do. And I know it can't be easy. But it's like with other things, it comes with practice and a love for it, a joy that comes from it, or you wouldn't consistently do it. You wouldn't continually be putting your heart and soul into it, Nevertheless, that's kind of like me in this channel, huh? I am putting my heart and soul into it, but I could do better. I could always do better. I could plan ahead, and I could probably try to have outlines, and I would be totally busy with my little brain trying to function all that together. So to literally actually get it done, it's better to fly by the seat of my pants and share with you people members of the church, the most righteous and spiritual and trying so hard members of the church. You're doing great. You keep on going. And you do your part so that when I send people to you guys, you encase them in your loving arms. And share what we have. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is everybody has their part to play. When we have to do what Jesus wants us to do, which is to share our knowledge with people. And not just our knowledge, because God is love, right? So, in our own little way, we do our part. Okay, so I got to get off of that. It's amazing, tears, where they come from. Some of us are shy people. We are shy. And so even just to get to that church and in that chapel and go through a meeting is a massive accomplishment for some people. And you'll find that if you go, that you will partake of the Spirit, the Holy Ghost. will touch you. Anyway, that happens. So what was my point about that? It was each level, I'm calling to you people all over the world, wherever you are. Even if you live in a cave or on the street or in a park or in a lovely mansion or in a regular little, rambler house. Some people might think, oh, I don't have much. Oh my God, you have the world. If you have a place to live, and especially if you have a place to live that isn't an ungodly amount of money to pay for every month. This is craziness too. Well, they expect people to be able to pay. Okay. So anyway, my thoughts today about doing any reading is the Millennium. And that's what brought up that book. What type of a life will we live in the Millennium? And so I think Added Upon might cover some of that. I don't know. But it's still fictional. You have to remember that word, fiction. Where maybe, they put the scenario out there that we will do, for work, we will do what we love best, what we're the best at. But that might not always be true either, because the Millennium is going to be for growing. And I'm not talking about growing my marijuana plants. I'm talking about growing your person, yourself. So that means a lot of things, right? You're not going to be just doing what you love the best, because then that's narrowing your path of learning. Understand? And I just put that out there. So the scenario is like, okay, maybe you might go to work for 4 hours a day. Let me do that better. 4 hours a day. Doing what you love. What you're good at. And then anything and everything that you do during that 4 hours, that you produce, goes to the storehouse. Goes to the storehouse. So that means everybody, mass quantities of people, everybody is doing their best work, what they're good at, and they're only having to do it for about 4 hours a day. And then all of that goes to the church storehouse, which is the government, because Jesus Christ is going to reign on the earth during the millennium for 1,000 years. I don't know if that's 1,000 earth years, because I just can't see. I can't fathom how all the people who've ever lived on this earth are going to get a chance to live again. And it's going to take time. However, we've been here. When it actually starts, somewhere around 7,000 years, okay? I'm not sure how that works, okay? It's like you live 6,000 years and you're starting on the 7,000. That is when Jesus is here, and that's when the millennium is, and that is like say if you correlated it to the work week and the creative week of the earth. On 6 days he worked, and on the 7th he rested. And so 6,000 years, the 7,000 is rest. Those are just little theories I'm throwing out there, and I don't know if you're even grasping them, because I'm not sure. Point is, they're just thoughts, theories. But also, the correlation was between this life and the millennial life, Jesus will be here. He's going to be in charge. I mean, he's going to be in, the government will be Jesus, okay? You're not going to have to deal with all this crap. There's not going to be, Satan will be bound and his helpers. So there's not going to be any temptation. You're going to be here to grow. So it seems to me you would have all your stuff from before to go with it, meaning your memories of this life on earth and of your pre-existence and of your mother and father in heaven. So I'm not sure. I just know that Satan and his followers, his helpers, and I'm not exactly sure who those are either, because the first thing I think of is all the ones who came with him in the very beginning. A third of the host of heaven came with Satan down here. Okay, are they going to the bottomless pit? I think so. And then I don't know about the rest, because, you know, in the end, there's 3 different worlds. There's the telestial, the terrestrial, I'm not saying it exactly right, terrestrial, and the celestial. I was going to be all cocky and say, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to the celestial kingdom. However, that remains to be seen. But I have been baptized. And as long as I don't do something, you know, I started to say something else, and so I don't like that. It just comes up with different levels, okay? In other words, you want to be a good person. You want to grasp on to Jesus Christ and follow his teachings. And you're being judged right now by the way you live your life, by how you interact with people. And that which you give out, you will receive. Meaning, if you're giving bad judgment, if you're out there causing hell, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? That which you give out, you will get back. So be careful. Yeah, my voice is a trip. Okie doke. So, I know I told you the date. Did I tell you it was a Saturday? Right now, Jessica's at work. She's working overtime. And tonight, Diego's going to be, his band is going to be, the band he's in, whatever, he's the singer, will be playing tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't been asked to go, so I don't know about that. I get really nervous. I have this phobia of being out on the road, especially if you've been drinking and then you get pulled over and there you go. Because once upon a time, many years ago, I had a DWI or DUI, whatever you would call it. And so that sticks with you. I don't want to be out on the road during the time when you're singled out and maybe you've had a couple, 3 drinks, and so that maybe you're over the limit by just a smidge. But it's just a pain in the ass, first of all. And then second of all, yeah, really big pain if you don't pass that breathalyzer test. Yes, it'd be nice to have money and nice to have other people doing the driving. So the point is, I get nervous about that. And so when that's going to be all involved, and depending on how late we're staying and stuff, I just soon stay home. So that's not cool. I need to be able to get out and go and enjoy, because I do love music and I love dancing. However, it's not always a matter of dancing. Depends on, like I went with Jessica to one of their things, We didn't stay a whole heck of a long time, but it was in a sports bar. And so there really wasn't a dance floor. There wasn't room for dancing unless you just stood up and were dancing in your place. That works too. It just depends on how carried away a person gets when they dance. So, did I finish that story about the millennium? Anyway, if you only work 4 hours a day and you do what you do best, and that's all donated to the storehouse, and then everybody gets to go and get from the storehouse what they need. I don't know about what you want, but the idea is that you have the rest of the time to yourself to grow and do your other things, your hobbies or your other talents that you want to achieve. I'm not sure if I'm saying it quite right, but things like I know somebody that I just think is so super talented. But I'm sure he worked to get those skills. So I admire him a lot. Especially because some of the things he's so good at is the music, which is something I would love to be good at. I'd love to be able to sing and to write and to put beautiful melodies together that people would sing to from here until who knows when. Something that'll stick in you, make a difference in your life without you knowing it. No. I do love, I love music, period. And there's just some songs that are just great. Like When I Found Her, or When I Found You. I love that song. And it's got the most beautiful melody to it. Okay, and then there was another song I heard recently, but I don't know what it was. But oh my. So yeah. Words, the words to songs, they come from experiences, right? So you want to share your experience with the world, and you find out that so many people have that same experience. And that's how they relate to your music. Now, I'm a strange bird. I say that to a lot of people. I am on the strange side. And if you want to say that I'm not normal, well, so what? I'm not. I don't really want to. Yeah, I use that word, and it's from that movie, Abby Normal. Okay, what is normal? Really, we're all people. We're at different levels of understanding. And who are you? Where'd you come from? What's your purpose? Why are you here? And why? Just why? Anyway. So I guess what I should do is stick on my glasses out and find, I've already got it laid out in front of me, the beginning of Millennium. Okay, so I need to, like I've said in the past, I'm not the best reader, but I try. I'm just going to start at the beginning. I'm going to try to stay on task. And then what I need to do is we're going to learn us some stuff. Get your book. Hopefully, just always have your little book ready. Those of you who are following me, so that you can write down scriptures you can go look up later. And then actually I might auto look them up. But there's all kinds of different ones that'll take us forever. I guess that would be a good thing. Guess what's playing in my head right this minute is saying, heaven, when I held you again, how could we ever just be friends? Not sure exactly of the words that comes next, but it's the part where I'd rather die than let you go, and I'm Juliet to your Romeo. No, maybe it says, I remember you saying I would never fall in love again until I find her. I'll never fall in love unless it's you I fall into. I was lost within the darkness, but then I found her. I found you. Just that makes me cry. What's that trip? Okay, so quit that. I love that song. And you can tell that it stirs up deep emotions. My nose wants to be wet. I just want to dry it. Okay. Crying doesn't help the situation. It's a beautiful song. Okay. It's When I Found You by Stephen Sanchez. If anybody wants to look it up, just tell Alexa to play it and she will. And it's a great song to dance to. A nice slow dance with your partner. Romantic. Anyway. Okay. So. Here we go, people. I don't know how far I'll go, but we'll do a little bit. And then I'm going to have to try to keep a marker or something. So this is in Mormon Doctrine, and it says right in the beginning, when you're looking up a topic. So it gives you other topics to look up in this same book. So Millennium, and it says, see Adam Ondai Amen, comma, devil, comma, earth, comma, judgment day, comma, kingdom of God, comma, new haven and new earth, comma, peace, comma, resurrection, comma, revelation, comma, second coming of Christ, comma, signs of the times of refreshing, just as century means a period of 100 years, so millennium means a period of 1,000 years. This earth, according to the divine plan, is passing through a mortal or temporal existence of 7 millenniums, or 7,000 years. That's Doctrine and Covenants 77, verses 6 and 7. During the first 6 of these, covering a total period of 6,000 years from the time of the fall of Adam, conditions of carnality, corruption, evil, and wickedness of every sort have prevailed upon the earth. Wars, death, destruction, and everything incident to the present telestial state of existence have held sway over the earth and all life on its face. So that just said we're in a telestial state. Myself, I'm not even sure if we're as good as telestial. Is that the right word? All I know is it's the bottom kingdom, and Joseph Smith said if we could see it, we would kill ourselves to get there, because that's where people, murderers, people who commit the worst sins are going to go to the telestial kingdom. I mean, depending on if they repent or not. But there is a bottom kingdom, which is the telestial kingdom, and they're saying the earth is in that state right now. Okay? State of existence. And it says, okay, destruction and everything incident to the present telestial state of existence. Okay, so anyway, when the 7,000 years commence, however, radical changes will take place both in the earth itself and in the nature and type of existence enjoyed by all forms of life on its face. This will be the long-hoped-for age of peace, when Christ will reign personally upon the earth, when the earth will be renewed and receive its paradisical glory. When corruption, death, and disease will cease, and when the kingdom of God on earth will be fully established in all its glory, beauty, and perfection. 10th Article of Faith. Okay. This is the period known to the saints of all ages as the Millennium. Important events and conditions to precede, attend, and follow the Millennium era include the following. 1. Council at Adam Amdi Alman precedes millennium. During the first 6,000 years of this earth's temporal continuance, the Lord is administering the affairs of his earthly kingdom through agents, stewards, prophets, and appointed servants to whom he gives the keys and authority to direct such affairs. Adam is the Lord's chief agent in governing the affairs of this earth. The heads of the gospel dispensations and all of the prophets who have served in those blessed eras, that's ERAS, have been and are, have been and are subject to this first man of all men. And they're talking about Adam. Okay. When the time approaches for Christ to come and reign personally upon earth for the millennial period, then Adam and all those subordinate to him who have held keys and authority will meet in the valley of Adam Ondai Ammon. There an accounting will be made of all stewardships. Christ will come and receive back the keys, and there will be given him dominion and glory, and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. That's in Daniel 7, verse 14. Following this, all will be in readiness for our Lord to reign personally upon the earth, and he will soon thereafter come to usher in the great millennial era. Okay, so that's all going to happen before he comes, not after. Okay, number 2. Second coming ushers in millennium. We are not living in the millennium now, nor do millennial conditions now prevail upon the earth, nor will they until Christ comes and the earth is renewed and receives its paradisical glory. And that says 10th article of faith. Christ, this has got an apostrophe S, so that's possessive. Christ coming will mark the beginning of the millennium, the changes in men, all forms of life, and the earth itself, which will be incident to the new order of things, will take place in the day of that coming. In mine own due time, saith the Lord, will I come upon, what is the word? Will I come upon the earth in judgment, and my people shall be redeemed, and shall reign with me on earth. For the great millennium, of which I have spoken by the mouth of my servants, shall come. And that's in Doctrine and Covenants, section 43, verse 29 and 30. Again, I will reveal myself from heaven with power and great glory, with all the hosts thereof, and dwell in righteousness with men on earth 1,000 years. And the wicked shall not stand. And that's Doctrine and Covenants 29, verse 11. First resurrection ushers in millennium. This is number 3. Okay, first resurrection ushers in the millennium. Many persons have already come forth from the grave in their resurrected and glorified bodies. Righteous saints who lived from the day of Adam to the day of Christ were with him, were with him in his resurrection. I've told you guys that in a different video a while ago, that when Jesus was resurrected, lots of people were resurrected at the same time. And that's what it just said. Righteous saints who lived from the day of Adam to the day of Christ were with him, in his resurrection. Okay, so that's Matthew 27, verses 52 and 53. Also, Doctrine and Covenants, so just put D and C, 133, verses 54 and 55. And I think this might be Helaman, because I don't know of it anywhere else. H-E-L-A. So if it's Helaman, it's in the Book of Mormon. 14, so that's chapter 14, verse 25. To us, however, the first resurrection, the resurrection of the just, will come with the return of our Lord and the commencement of the millennial reign. Yea, and blessed are the dead that die in the Lord. From henceforth, when the Lord shall come, and old things shall pass away, and all things become new, they shall rise from the dead, and shall not die after, and shall receive an inheritance before the Lord in the holy city. That's Doctrine and Covenants for section 63, verse 49. Okay, so now we're going to start with 4. Righteousness will not hasten millennium. The time for the beginning of the millennium is fixed. It has been definitely set and is known to the Father. It cannot be advanced by the righteousness of the saints, nor the repentance of people in the world, nor can it be postponed either because of increasing wickedness or for any reason. By definition, the millennium is the 7th period of 1,000 years duration to which this earth is subject. It will commence when Christ comes, and his coming is set by revelation to be in the beginning of the 7,000 years of the earth's temporal existence. And that's Doctrine and Covenants, section 77, verse 6 and 12. As a matter of fact, the second coming of Christ, and thus the ushering in of the millennium era, will occur in a day of war and wickedness, of carnality, corruption, and abomination, such as the world has never before seen. The cup of man's iniquity will be full, and the fury and scourge of the Lord will then be poured out without measure upon all nations. Get your pencil ready, because here's some things. Okay, like Ezekiel, I believe, E-Z-E-K. That would be chapter 38. And it looks like chapter 39. And then Joel, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And then Zech is chapter 12, chapter 13, chapter 14. Malachi, chapter 3, chapter 4. If it's meaning 3 verse 4, it's not looking like it, okay? It's separated by a semicolon and a space. So I'm not quite sure, but I think I'm right. Anyway, D and C, 29, and then it's got a semicolon. So then it's got 45 and a semicolon. So that would seems to me section 29, section 45, and then section 64, verses 23 and 25, and then section 133. So it's a bunch of reading right there. Okay. I guess I'll keep going. I wish that would lay down. Okay. Destruction of wicked as millennium commences. Incident to the commencement of the millennial era, the earth, the Lord's vineyard, will be burned. Every corruptible thing will be consumed. Thus, Doctrine and Covenants, section 101, verse 24. All the proud and they that do wickedly shall be burned as stubble. Now it says Malachi, so it says M-A-L. So Malachi 4, verse 1. Doctrine and Covenants, section 29, verse 9. Section 64, verses 23 through 25. Section 133, verses 63 and 64. The sinners will be destroyed. That's Isaiah 13:9 through 14. And there will be an entire separation of the righteous and the wicked. That's Doctrine and Covenants, section 63, verse 54. Those only shall be able to abide that day who are worthy to live on a paradisical or terrestrial sphere. Okay, so that's the middle kingdom, the terrestrial. So that's what we're going to be living on during the millennium. The earth is going to go through a change, and right now she's in her telestial state. So the next state is going to be terrestrial. So it's not the celestial kingdom, but the world will be changed to a terrestrial state. And in the end, the world will change to the celestial kingdom. It'll go through another change. So that was just a little piece of knowledge that I probably shouldn't have given you yet. But the point is, might be in your little head, okay. Paradisical or terrestrial sphere. 6. Day of Judgment commences. Millennial era, that's ERA, with the return of our Lord in the clouds of heaven in all the glory of his Father's kingdom to usher in the millennial era of peace. Will come the first great formal day. Let's see. Okay, that seems weird. To usher in the millennial era of peace, comma, will come the first great formal day of judgment. At that day shall be gathered before him all the nations of the living. Okay, so the living. Did you catch that? And he shall separate the sheep from the goats, rewarding the righteous with an inheritance in his Father's kingdom, and cursing the wicked with everlasting punishment. That's Matthew 25, verses 31 through 46. At that day, the 12 who were with the Lord in Jerusalem shall be in glory, even as he, and shall judge the righteous host of the whole house of Israel. Doctrine and Covenants, section 29, verse 9 through 13. And beginning at that day, the worthy saints, having been resurrected with celestial bodies, shall live and reign on earth 1,000 years. It's Revelation 20, verse 4. What I just read is, I don't know if we caught it. And beginning at that day, the worthy saints, having been resurrected with celestial bodies, shall live and reign on earth 1,000 years. That says a whole big old mouthful. And I do have a problem. I take things literal. Did you catch it? Okay, so going back to what I've already read, and I think I read it out of this thing. There was a resurrection when Jesus was resurrected, okay? The worthy people from that first 4,000 years were resurrected. And then when he comes again, we're going to have a resurrection, but not our final resurrection. We're going to be semi-immortal when we live during the millennium. will be semi-immortal. Okay? And it just said, the worthy saints, having been resurrected with celestial bodies, they've already passed through. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me anyway. We're going to go into the millennium with a semi-immortal body. And so it sounded to me like these people here are going to be the ones who reign on the earth. While we're in a semi-immortal state, they are already immortal. And maybe it's because they were with that first 4,000 years they're resurrected. See, I know we're gonna be resurrected, but we're not gonna be in our final state, is my point. We're not gonna be in a celestial body. We're gonna be in a terrestrial body. Shall live and reign on earth 1,000 years. So they're gonna be the rulers. Okay, I mean, Jesus is the ruler, but they'll be working for him because there's a lot to be done, and it takes a group, an organization. All right, so I know I read it, but I'll just say it again. Revelation 20, verse 4. Okay, number 7, it says, renewal of earth to paradisical state. With the ushering in of the millennium, the earth will be renewed and receive its paradisical glory. Then it's, in parentheses, says 10th article of faith. And then it says, that is, it will return to the, I do not know that word, Edenic, Edenic terrestrial state, which existed when the Lord God finished the creative enterprise and pronounced everything that he had made very good. That's in Genesis 1, verse 31. In that primeval day, thorns, thistles, briars, and noxious weeds had not yet made their appearance. Genesis 3:18. There were no deserts and unfruitful places, no barren and unproductive mountains, but the whole earth was a delightful garden. All the earth's land surface was in one place, the seas in another, and death had not entered the scene. But immortality reigned in every department of creation. 2 Nephi chapter 2, verse 22. Then came the fall of Adam, and with it the beginning of the present celestial order of things. Man, his origin and destiny, that's a book, okay, pages 380 through 397. The millennium is the age of renewal and regeneration, when the Lord will create new heavens and a new earth. So sweeping will be the changes, so radical the differences in the order of things, that the former heavens and earth shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. Isaiah 65:17. It will be a day of transfiguration, a day when the earth shall be transfigured. Doctrine and Covenants, section 63, verses 20 and 21. A day when the continents and islands shall again become one land, when the mountains and valleys will no longer be found. Doctrine and Covenants, section 133, verses 22 and through 24. When all things will return to their state of paradisical glory. Our revelations tell us that when the Lord comes, the element shall melt with fervent heat, and all things shall become new. It's in Doctrine and Covenants 101, verse 25. And Peter used this gospel truth as a basis for this powerful exhortation. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversations and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to the promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. That's 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10 through 14. It's been pretty interesting, don't you think? It's like I'm deciding, should I stop? I'm on 8. This is 8, millennial ending of Satan. Not ending, binding. Millennial binding of Satan. Just wondering. Wow, there's a whole lot. Okay. Let's see. Starting on 8, how many will there be? Is there going to be more? So far away. Hey, hey. Okay, it looks like 16, so I'm right in the middle. I'm smack in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. I'm not sure if that's Three Dog Night or if that's somebody else. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. It just came to mind because of something I had said. And that song was way back from when I was 16. When I was in New York. You know, I don't know how far away New York is. I ought to check that out because I don't think I'm very far away. Might just have to figure out how to get over there. Anyway, I am a chicken when it comes to going into strange places I've never been. And going to New York City, I think that would be about the strangest but strongest place that if I ventured over there by myself, oh my, I would have to be too brave. I'm not that brave. It just would depend. If I could devise a plan to get me there and had a place where I knew I was going and everything would be okay, and I could try to find my way over there. But I don't think I'd do it by myself. But maybe there's a train that goes over there. I don't know. All right, so if there's 16, I could go ahead and do 8, and then that would be halfway through. So I would come back and start on 9. Okay? So, number 8 says millennial binding of Satan. When we speak of the binding of Satan in connection with the millennium, we mean that he will be bound during that era, that his powers will be limited after that day commences, and not that men will turn to righteousness so as to tie the hands of Satan, thereby bringing millennial conditions to pass. The plan does not call for men to turn voluntarily to righteousness, thereby causing the 1,000-year era of peace to commence. Rather, the millennium will be brought about by power. The wicked will be destroyed, and those only will remain on earth who are sufficiently righteous to abide the day of the Lord's coming, a day when the elements shall melt with fervent heat and all things become new. Okay, that's Malachi 3. And it's got a semicolon, and then it's got a space, and then a 4. So to me, that means Malachi chapter 3 and chapter 4. But it also could mean Malachi 3, verse 4. A day when the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and all things become new. However, Satan shall be bound. Doctrine and Covenants 43:31, 45, verse 55. Section 84, verse 100, Section 88, verses 110 and 111, Revelation 20, verse 1 through 3, and then verse 7. And for 1,000 years he shall not have power to tempt any man. Doctrine and Covenants 101, verse 28. Accordingly, children shall grow up without sin unto salvation. Doctrine and Covenants, section 45, verse 58. And righteousness and peace be everywhere present. It was this concept that caused Nephi to write, speaking of the period after the commencement of the millennium, that because of the righteousness of his people, Satan has no power, wherefore he cannot be loosed for the space of many years, for he hath no power over the hearts of the children. Power over the hearts of the people, for they dwell in righteousness, and the Holy One of Israel reigneth. And that's in 1 Nephi this is 1 Nephi 22, verse 26. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Revelation 20, verse 7. That he may gather together his armies. And then cometh to battle of the great God. And the devil and his armies shall be cast away into their own place, that they shall not have power over the saints any more at all. And that's Doctrine and Covenants, section 88, verses 110 through 114. Well, I'm hungry, people. I need to go eat. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to need to start on number 9. And I'll go ahead and put me a bookmark there. Maybe I'll write down where I need to start. Start number 9. Okay. All right. It's really interesting, isn't it? And we got a bunch more to go. Because I've only read through 8, and there's 16 parts. Some of them are small parts. But nevertheless, okay, it's Saturday, so I gotta take pills too. Oh, I hate taking pills. But I really am worried about the hormone thing. You know, the reason they're trying to stop the hormones is because cancer likes the hormones. But if we can kill all the cancer, can't I have my hormones back? No one said we've killed it, you know, but my first doctor there in Kennewick did say, I could melt that cancer away. Going, really? But she said that it would leave a lot of holes in my bones because it's in my bones. And so wherever the cancer is, there'll be a hole. And then she says, then you could, I want to say the word implode, but basically your bones will collapse. That's the word, collapse upon themselves. And that's not good, right? I need strong bones. So these scans that I'm going to have on the 6th of June are going to tell us, I believe she said it would be easier to read. That's why they wanted to do these different scans, but I'm just glad there's not going to be a copay. So I thought, oh my God, it's going to be a copay, and then there's 2 of these scans, so that's 2 copays. So thank God for that. I don't know anything about something about a donut hole or some weird thing out of pocket. I don't understand all that, but I know that they charge a bunch of money. And if all these things that they tell us to do are charging money against that donut hole, and then you come to the point where, oh, you got to pay for it, and then you need these certain things, well, maybe you shouldn't have had some of them other things so that you still had money left to pay for what you need throughout the year. That makes sense. In other words, when I'm shopping around and I know what my budget is and I know what I can afford, and then I know the truth about what I've got to pay, then I would make some conscious decisions instead of just doing whatever they tell me. So, oh, well, maybe I can go without this and without that, you know, and then pick it up later. Space it out longer. Right now, they've been doing that PET scan I mean, they didn't do it for a long, long time, and then they did, and it seems like they were doing it every 3 months. I don't know. All I know is it's time for me to take some more of my ivermectin. I need to put it back over here on my desk so I see it all the time. Anyway, I've talked a lot, and it's well over an hour now, hour and 8 minutes. About my normal time, really. Except for sometimes I talk longer. But it is an interesting subject. And so, one of the things I just read in there, I wasn't quite sure about that. So I need to I don't remember what it was. It was over here on this other page. So anyway, that was kind of weird what I read, though, wasn't it? It will be a day of transfiguration, a day when the earth shall be transfigured. Anyway, there be lots going on. There was the part about it said basically sounded like Satan would still have some power. And, you know, I had it in my head, he going down in that freaking pit. He ain't going to be around to be doing nothing for that 1,000 years. And then he will be loosed. And I think I read that too. So, all we need to know is that things are going to be happening. And you want to be able to withstand the fire, withstand the heat. I mean, I can see why we would all have to be removed, because it sounds to me like the elements will melt. The earth is going to change. It almost sounded like it was going to be totally destroyed and rebuilt. I don't know. That could just be my words. All right, we need to remember we're going to start on number 9, and I wrote it down on my bookmark. So I'm going to go see if I can't find something to make me feel better. And I guess really what it should be is my smoothie. I took the 2 pills that I have to take, and they're the ones that well, one is calcium and vitamin D, okay? The one that I would quit taking is the hormone blocker, I guess. It is supposed to stop the production of my hormone. A little pill I take every day, which is also, excuse me, I guess I can't say that. I am not sure. It seems like all this stuff wants to make you lose your hair. The letrozole, which stops you from producing your hormones, which stops you from being moist, makes you dry, all of your tissues, your organs, everywhere probably, because we need that hormone. You know, to be plump, be soft, not be all wrinkled up. So it could also be causing my wrinkles. I've been taking that pill probably a year now. Anyway, if we can get the cancer, I don't know how they do that, because the PET scan, not this last one, but the one before, she could have misspoken, but she said there was no cancer activity. But I took it from her voice when she was upset with me, because I was wanting to find out why she wasn't getting the cancer, the markers, the numbers that would tell me. I don't know what it tells you, but I started at 1,400 and I thought I was down to 600. Well, I found out I was down to 400. But you're supposed to be around, say, 50 to 70, somewhere in there. And I don't understand it, but that's the number you're looking for. So it's still not good, but it's so much better than it was. It was 1,000 down. That's a bunch, right? So like I said, I don't understand. All I know is I'm going to have these 2 scans done on the 6th of June. And I will talk to the doctor on the 26th of June. Maybe we'll hear some wonderful things. I think I will. You guys hang on, and I'm going to get my ivermectin and take some real quick. Okay, stay there. Okay, I'm going to show it to you again in case you guys are new. This word right here, ivermectin, because you can get it in the same type of deal, but in a different box, different brand. And it is a horse warmer, which I've been taking, and I think I kind of forgot to take it. I do need to keep it in front of me. But I've been taking it quite a bit. And what is today? Today is May 17th. So I'm going to put May 17th in here. According to this book, and I think it's probably right, the last time I took it was the 9th. So 9 and 8 makes 7. So I would say it's been 8 days. Add 8 and 9 together and you get 17. So it's been 8 days. Anyway, I would just love so much, and who wouldn't? I know I say stupid things, but I want, like I said, I say stupid things. I want to be told that the cancer is gone. There's no such thing left in my body. Okay, so here's this syringe. And inside here is a gel. I've already had some. And I'm going to come down here and screw it. I don't know. I'm going to take this cap off and see, because it could have sunken down in. It did, way down. Wow. Okay. So we're going to... I'm going to let you see, but I don't want it to fall off. Okay. It really isn't too bad. I mean, I know I'm pulling faces because it's kind of... I'm into texture too, and so that's a gel. I mean, it's supposed to have a little taste of apple, but I wouldn't say that it does. But it's not horrible. It really isn't. But anyway. Ah! Blech. That was a weird taste to it. I don't like that. All right, so just a really quick story about the ivermectin, okay? Horse warmer. That syringe that I just showed you is for a 1,250-pound horse. So I divided it up into smaller doses. And I had heard a video on YouTube by a veterinarian, and he had been treating some dogs with ivermectin. And these dogs just happened to have cancer. He was treating them for worms, okay? But their cancer went away. Might not be, I mean, it might just be a happenstance, but I thought it was worth trying, especially since, you know, what is it, your outcome? Death. You're looking at dying. And then you've got this possible thing that might work. And the FDA, I don't know how much faith I put into those people, but the FDA in 1996 approved ivermectin for human consumption. And people do get worms. And years ago, I don't even know how many, we'll say 20 years ago. I had a scare. I thought I might have cancer, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to my grandma, who was into vitamins and everything. But she told me about this guy that she knew. And she gave me his phone number. She said, call him, talk to him. And I did. And he was 70 at the time. And the first time he had been diagnosed with cancer, he was 20. So he lived a good 50 years when I talked to him. But his advice to me was to get a colon cleanse, a real good, strong colon cleanse, to get rid of parasites that are in your intestines, and we don't even know they're there, okay? So anyway, I did what he said to do and all that stuff, but my point is the man was 70, first diagnosed with cancer at 20, and his answer was a colon cleanse to detoxify your body. And so I followed his advice. Now, I found out later on it wasn't cancer that I had. It was some female whacked out thing that you have when you're going through menopause, okay? I had things not functioning correctly, and I had something growing inside. And you know what? It could have been in my ovary, because that would make more sense. Anyway, I kept going a 2-hour drive to Amarillo. I'd have to go there and have a sonogram so they could go in there and check it out. Finally, they just said, you know, it's just something going on with menopause. So just kind of watch it. You don't have to keep coming in here. So I had a lot of doctor's visits I really didn't need. But, you know, I was having some bad female problems, and I had just recently been married, and it was interfering with our marital relations. So it needed attention, and I got it. But I was just trying to compare this guy, and that's why I'm doing the ivermectin and the veterinarian's video that I saw. It was just happenstance. I mean, these dogs were probably older, because even older people get cancer more than younger people. It's like, I think in my head, I'm thinking it's that shut-off valve. I'm not saying it quite right, but maybe a shut-off switch, you know, where you are designated to live here a certain amount of years with your body. And so after you reach a certain point, you're going downhill. And we're all trying to fight that and not go downhill. I definitely am. I mean, I wasn't concerned. At one point, really, I wasn't concerned, because I know life goes on. But then you meet somebody, and you want to have a relationship for a long time with that person, and then that just changes everything. It's like, okay, I don't want to die. I didn't really want to die before, but I wasn't so concerned about it. Now I am, because time is of the essence. That's a good statement. Time is of the essence. And it just keeps flying by. I mean, we need to seize the moment. While we can. Anyway, here's to the millennium, right? So you know from the scriptures that you might die according to this earth, but you're not dead. And you are going to be resurrected. And I've made some statements that might not be totally true, because I said everybody would be resurrected, but you know what? Maybe they won't. Those who will not. So for they said they were in spirit prison. So I don't know. I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to worry about that which pertains to me. And I believe that when Jesus comes again, if I'm still alive, I will be lifted up. I will not be here when all the destruction is going on. So, there's going to be a big old burning. You guys want to be burned up? I wasn't talking to everybody. Just those few. But see, they're not going to be on my channel, so I just got to get off here. It's already way past, so I'm going to go. Have a great day. If you're on the same time frame as me, it's the 17th, and it's a Saturday, and the sun is shining, and it's been raining all week. I don't know. The ground is probably too wet to worry about going out. So otherwise, I've been going out to the backyard and sitting for a while. But I haven't been able to this week. Anyway, people, you guys have a great day. And depending on what goes on with the day, I might come back and do the rest of that Millennium stuff. But you got enough to go check it out. Or just take my word for it. I do. I need to make an appointment with the eye doctor. I need to find somebody that's got some good frames. I don't mind wearing glasses, but I want them to look good. And I just haven't been able to find any frames that I like. Because I always just went to Walmart, and they only give you a certain few. You know, you might go somewhere where it's a little more stylish. Anyway, we shall see. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you later, okay?